So keen to know, and Tony, I know this is your first one that you've joined us for a little while, but we're week 6 of 8 in our content creation. So I'm keen to know how you've gone with your homework. So I'm going to start with Carol. Carol,
this time I have to say I haven't really done it, but I did have it edited before I came last time. So I have done a little bit of editing. I've edited myself again. And I've done a little time page.
Okay.
Okay. I want to eat and we will
Sorry.
I want to eat and we will on time. We should can you listen?
No.
What do you do with eating?
All right. So you managed to. So sorry, Tony. We won't interrupt. Carol.
Yeah. I've created one, which is quite long, and then but when I've tried it on my phone, so I emailed it to myself to set it up on my phone.
Yep.
And the background, it's backgrounded in a branded color with white writing. It's not showing up as well as that. So I'm just going to tweak that so that it's white with black writing. The writing's big enough, but it's just quite hard to see on the phone.
Yeah.
But it's there basically to try and give myself a bit of authority.
Nice. Very good. And I think, yeah, sometimes just that contrast of colours, and particularly when you bring the sides down, it either becomes more obvious or it just gets lost. So yeah, it's good to test that.
Because it's a doll type thing, it's a pretty and it's a feel good type of thing. It's a little bit pretty, so there's a little doll on the side.
No.
And then I put the back on the candle thing. I just thought,
Yep.
With dark purple and the white and I just changed that to my black color. But then when I tried, I knew I was practicing. And I was like, okay, all I'm going to do is take it and white and then just brown flowers.
Yep.
Keep it a bit.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so this is a little banner that you can have on all the content that you create with your photo and your name.
And I mean, I wanted to ask you what sort of kind of band and I just thought really for Google search purposes only, I'm going to use my title, Dr. Harrison.
Yep.
And my letters.
Yep. That it shows something.
I just call myself creative director since 2018.
Yep.
It's just all over the place. But I can see the difference of it. That's just game task game. Yeah. And I don't know whether to have it at the top or the bottom, but I'll try that.
Yeah, have a little play around with it.
I think possibly at the top.
All the way to the bottom. Yep.
But yeah.
And I've noticed this week when I've been looking at things, I've been sort of paying attention to that, and quite a lot have it at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is.
I've kind of been, noticing a lot more when you start looking.
Yeah.
And I just think, people will scroll over it. It's obvious what it is.
Yeah.
And just they're past it.
Yeah. But if they click past it, then they've still got the option to go. Who wrote that? Who was it? Yeah. Yeah. What else have they written? Yeah. Good. Okay.
So that's as well.
Nice.
I'm kind of almost ready. I'm actually not going to publish now because my main link with this, mostly what's happened is related to my website. They're transformed files and they can patch them.
So in the formatting of them.
To try and, because I have to temper it and what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm working through all my stuff. And I'm actually just, because there's about 12 up there and it's taken a while to do the yeah. I'm just copying all the text and make sure I've got all the file photos still.
Yeah.
Which I have first. And put it all together just in a little document. And then I'm going to do the full workshop. So I don't want to publish the stuff I'm not happy with.
Yeah.
And I want to try and get ready to be online by January.
Yeah.
So my 4 or 5 blogs up, but it is
yeah. So do you think you've got any content out there elsewhere at the moment that would be linking back to those ones that you want to delete? Because the only thing I would say is before you go and delete them, you could take the paged draft so that it's not
Yeah.
visible, and then you can delete all of the body of it, but keep the permalink, like keep the URL, and then when you're ready, import a template or import your content back in the layout you want.
Yeah.
But the permalink is still there because Google.
It's very nimble, but I don't know. Should I do that? But I've only promoted 3 of them on Facebook.
Okay.
Just to see.
And those promotions would have been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really, it's not being seen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I might do that when you see it, but literally just like that.
Yeah.
And start
And
again.
start again. Yeah. Yeah.
You see, they carry them over from the old website, and which was WordPress to this one. And it says published on whatever date. Oh no, let's say the original date.
Yeah, it should
I'll
still.
go back to January.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll keep that just because it looks like they've been in long time.
Yeah.
But
You
I
can always
literally-
change your published date as well. So if you want them to be older but not as old, you can always bring that forward as well.
I don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
But what I was about to say, and maybe I just need to get some help with that, is that she's put them in 2 columns, but she's just copy pasted the text here and the pictures here. None of them matches.
Yeah.
They're not in order. And a lot of it for the kids stuff anyways, do this picture, do that picture, choose where you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So it needs to be in order.
Yeah. I think sketching
And
out.
I looked today to just quickly check, and I can't see how to take it up 2 columns into one.
Yeah, I don't know your system, but if it's a block-based one, it'll either have a container, and then in the container there'll be 2 modules that'll be the columns, or yeah, that's pretty much really the only way. Or they've gone, here's a module, and in that module are 2 columns, but normally you would find a container with 2 modules that are side by side. Sorry, Tony, sorry, we're just recording this session, so we're just wanting to make sure people can hear at home. So,
yeah, one thing that makes me very nervous is all the blogs are the same. So if you change it on this one, you change it on the other.
if they're global, yes, but if they're
So
not,
then I thought that, should I just start it?
yeah,
And I kind of thought, put it in my head that it would just start over. None of them have got interaction really to be involved.
yeah. So you definitely could. I guess with that, if you're thinking that they're all the same and if you change one, be aware if that's actually the case, because if you have a different style layout that you want to do in the future, if you alter something in the future, is that going to go back and alter? So make sure you know the difference between a template and a global template. So, and they might have a different name for it rather than global, but
as a practice after our last session, I did convert one and actually the parts kind of changed.
Yeah.
And it's showing in a single format.
yep,
And I deleted the old one. And the rest is still showing 2 by 2.
okay,
So,
all right. So
but I just didn't have to change those to one
yeah,
column because they set up with 2.
yeah, I think you would probably, if they're not set as a global template, which is always a risk, like it's a big risk to do global stuff, then you would be best to just work out what you want them to look like.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, either delete them and recreate them, or just go in and delete the content, but recreate the layout, or create the layout you want, and then reinsert the content.
Because the other thing that I just thought, it's been such a long process, and all the stuff I've done has just been to learn and understand it.
Yeah.
Is that if I copy edit them and like just like that and whatever, and then put them up as new ones, it gives me content to publish every month or so.
Yeah.
In the first.
That's right.
Period. Keeping a lot out, and I just think that maybe.
Yeah. So with that, I guess that's a good thing to just talk about now as well, is that refreshing old posts is a thing that Google likes as well, because it goes, okay, this content is like 2 years old, 3 years old, 20 years old, whatever. But if you've updated it and now it's got a new updated date, it goes, oh, you've paid attention to this, you've made some modification. We're going to look at it again.
Yeah.
That's right. And you can always change that publish date. So if it was something you put on a year ago and now you've edited it, you can either say edited date, or you can just republish it with the new date. Either way, it then shows it in your list of posts at that date. So anyone scrolling through will see that. And if you want that continuity of, I do a post every month or something, you can put one on for October, November, December, and then have some ready to go out January, February, March, and you've got that little
I just
backlog.
think it just gives me a little bit of a head start, because they're kind of written, but also in March of the first and whatever. I know they need some little tweaking. It's just maybe get them ready to go. But
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it helps me with the way to pick up padding. So that I
yeah,
can
good.
just slightly reduce the size of the image.
Yeah.
It's coming on the big screen.
Yeah.
One after the other.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah, that's good. Excellent. I think with that as well, if you do a few and you've already got the content, you don't have to go, oh, I've got to write all the content and think about the layout. That's a good mental thing. And I know sometimes it is difficult to get someone else to help you with creative things when you don't really know what you want to start with. It's hard to communicate that, and then they do what they think they're hearing, or you give them open license and then they give it back and it's like, it's not really what I wanted, even though I didn't know what I wanted.
I'd rather master it myself.
So,
in the
yeah. And so you've got that content to play with and practice on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And you know, look at it, go back to some of it's written, you know, because you go to books and different things. Some people say if they want person, they want to know about you, they want to know. And it's written more that way.
Yeah.
And then others written more I know advisor, you know, it's in the whatever person kind of.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I need to like be a little bit more consistent here.
Yeah.
So it's all lean and it won't be a huge project. I'm actually very much to my daughter next week to do somewhere else. She's coming out, she'll be off next week. But,
Okay, yep.
But she had to quarantine before they're on the border. So
Yeah.
to get that, she bought us for 2 weeks around there. But so she's got it, and I think, you know, I'm just going to go down and see if we can come back together.
Yeah.
So I do better than that.
Change of scenery is nice.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, I'm glad you're making progress and you've got something to work on. So that's
Yeah.
very good. Excellent. All right, Paul, where are you up to?
I lost a file a number of weeks, a week or two ago, and I just found it. So I could share mine, so I can show what I've done to this point, get some feedback on it.
Yeah, sure.
Is that doable?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, it's just a Word document. I'll just share it. I'll share my screen, sure.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
share
that'll work.
if you cast your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hang on.
Should just override me, I think.
Zoom, share screen. I should disable this for sharing.
I really wish there was an option to just turn that off.
Yeah, that's the rules. They've implemented the word Zoom on. Okay, where's the questions? I haven't done the intro and stuff like that yet, but it's just regarding a data backup and things that people. It's just going to be. I had a whole grandiose idea of all this and I cut it down to just one small area. How to do data backup.
Yeah.
See, I'm just like to still on some.
So just I'll just say a couple of things that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So if your title is how to do a data backup,
Yeah.
myself, I would call it that rather than data backup. So actually call it,
Alternative
yeah, so
how to.
how to do a data backup.
Yep.
And then if you're
I'm yet to do an introduction.
intro paragraph, but then in things I can maintain myself, again, we want relevance there. So if data backup are your keywords, can you include those keywords in that heading? So
So backup should be there instead of maintain.
Yeah, it could be, you know, data backup steps I can do myself or something like that.
Required to ensure data backup.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that sounds good.
yeah, so just try and have those keywords in there, as well as if maintain or maintenance is the extra bit that's not in your overall heading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it could be, yeah, like,
Does it go down further?
I think the word maintain is your point of difference in that thing though. So, yeah.
You think I should have the word maintain?
Do it, maintain it, sort of do myself.
Yeah. So maintaining my data backup or something, or although if you're saying what I do versus what I have to get someone else to do.
Yeah, so the things that are done professionally. So that's the flip side of it.
Yeah. So it might be something like simple steps for data backup maintenance.
So that's all.
Yeah, something like that, and then professional steps.
Oh yeah. Yeah, or basic steps.
Yeah, basic steps, something like that.
Yeah, we've all got that. Basics.
Or sorry, I'll just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
How to maintain data backups yourself, something like that. So like that's what you're doing is yeah. So have to like with words, but how to like if you think of the question that someone would be asking,
How do I do data backup?
Yeah. So and then it might be, what do I need a professional for?
And maintain some right word, maybe you should say, how to ensure my data is backed up.
So just go to the title, overall title again.
So it's just have the data backup.
How to do a data backup.
So I don't want to say the same thing again.
No, yeah. How to do a data backup, and then I put
Data backup basics.
yeah, or simple steps to back up data. So try swapping the
Simple steps to do data backup.
yeah. So I would swap the words around because if what you're doing is backing up data, people might search it either way.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, simple steps to back up data.
Simple steps to back up data. Yeah.
So swap the words around
Oh, so you just did it in simple steps to back. Oh,
to back up data.
yeah, sorry.
And then the next one then, you go down to its title. So rather than things to get done professionally, it's so
What do we have about? Simple steps to do data backup.
simple steps to back up data, and then it might be like when like what to pay for or something like that,
Or when you get a professional.
when to get a professional, you know, or something like that, when to get professional help.
Yeah.
Data backup.
I like that. Help with backup.
Data backup. Yeah, data.
Backup.
Or with backing up data,
Yeah.
you could put in another version of the same words.
Okay, also backup. When you get professional help with backup data, yeah.
So if you think about someone asking, they're like, oh, you know, yeah, what can I do? So what's the simple option? And then, but again, we haven't done some keyword buying, done keyword searches, but
Yep.
that's probably more like what someone would be asking is like, when do I need to get professional help?
Yep.
Or something like that. So,
Okay.
all right.
And I'll put you on the spot here. I've got nothing below. I just done the basic content here.
No, that's fine. And then, yeah, so you've got different points on each one. And
Yeah.
so you've got
on the when to get professional help with backing up data, and I realise this is like early stage draft, but you've got a dot point and then you've got a numbered list.
Oh, nothing up for it.
So yeah, probably no need for that. If you can make that first line into a short paragraph and then have your dot points that come after it, that would probably look better.
Well, that's only 1 sentence, not a paragraph.
Yeah, you could make a little paragraph if you want to, but really, by the time you put that on mobile, it'll be half a screen.
Oh, true, yeah.
So if you needed to add anything to it,
Nothing's not right there.
yeah, that's just quite on from the first one.
Yeah.
And then up at the top, if you go back up to your first section, here you've got a dot point, and then you've got numbers, and then you've got another dot point. So yeah, do
You
that
reckon
first.
put that in there? You know, I'm a big I use a lot of dot points of things, probably too much.
But there's no second dot point after your schedule and carry out
So
backups.
there's no good reason.
There's no reason, yeah. And then, and that would be, I would encourage you to expand that schedule and carry out backups into a short paragraph, which could include your next sentence of there are a few different methods used, and then you have your dot points under that.
Oh, okay, so there's sort of what's that?
Yeah, yeah. And then it's kind of like, all right, here's my title, here's a little paragraph explaining what this section is about,
Here's the
and here's the points. And then here's my next title, here's a little paragraph or sentence about what it's about,
Yeah.
and here's my points. And not that there's anything wrong with numbers, and particularly if you're saying like 3 simple steps to back up data, then I would have them numbered. But if you're not highlighting the numbers, then I would just make them dot points
So,
without numbers myself.
yeah, I just
Yeah. But if it was, you know, if you, and there's nothing wrong with doing number ones, 3 simple steps to back up data.
I could expand that to another 5 or 2 or
Yeah. So often short is good. Because people go, oh, I can handle 3, if you give me 9,
yeah, too
like
much.
too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
If the job's too hard,
yeah.
I mean, obviously I want to do the first job. Because I think here I say, if you can't do anything to the thing, if you don't want to do any of the first stuff yourself, I can do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's right. And you can write that in your summary. So you can
In the closing paragraph.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can say that, you know, if you're reading there, don't feel overwhelmed, you know, professional learning to be able to help you with, you know, with the first steps as well, something like that.
See, I'm not nervous of where I started with this. There's so much into something.
Yeah,
I'm now selling products.
very good. Excellent.
Right, thank you for your feedback there.
That's okay. Yeah, just try and make sure you use those keywords
Yeah,
in
I'm
and
not
around, but
yeah.
not always exactly the same way. So this way,
And
adding,
more mentions of say backup is where Google where promote.
yeah,
And I've got
Backup, backing
issues
up.
into backup. I've got to mold this. I'm still not sure how to get this into look right on Google My Business.
yeah. Well, think about your get your context right in your actual article, the wording right, and then you can go, how much wording have I got? Are there some images that will help support this? Do I need to insert some little screenshots of what like if you're saying, here's the step of how to do it,
Yeah.
you know, do you have a picture? Because people like pictures to go, oh, if you're telling me to do something on my computer and I don't know where, like if you're saying,
I think what is in your file path, I think what is to show where what a file path looks like.
yeah, that's right. So, and you know, you might talk about compressing files, and then you know,
Maybe
You
a
might-
comparison between uncompressed and compressed.
yeah, or something like that, or just a picture of like a zip thing. You know, people might not know what does compressed mean.
Or the main where it's compressed files.
Yes. And then, but remember, everyone's got different devices, and it won't be the same.
Oh, true. Yeah, I've got it. General here.
All
I
right.
think I'm still sharing. That's useful, thank you. So I have been working on it. I've been doing
That's
that.
good. Okay, so today we are going to talk a little bit about promotion, and then as we discussed last week, we'll swap the topics around for the next 2 sessions after that of review
reviewing, like how to set it up to be able to review and then publish the following week. So in this review, we'll be looking at things like analytics, and how we can prepare to actually come back and review to see if we're getting the traction we want. So with promotion, there are a few things that I want to touch on here. So obviously looking at the key points, looking at some variety in promotion as well, visualization, platforms leverage, call to action again, creation and scheduling. So 4 key points. One of the things that we have to remember when we're promoting anything is, will someone act? Will they click? In most cases, if it's going to be, whether it's a Facebook post, an Instagram post, whether it's something in an email, will they do something? Will they click? And I've written clickbait there. Not that I want you to be writing really awful clickbaity stuff, but that's what it does. It's like, is it attractive enough and inspiring enough that someone's going to bother to click on it to learn more? So you don't want to give away the farm in your promotion. Like if it's 3 steps to back up your data, you don't want to tell them what the 3 steps are. You want them to click on something to go find out what the 3 steps are. Yeah, that's it. So it's trying to find those words that people will go, oh, I do want that. I want to know more, or I'm a bit curious, you know, I want to explore what that is. A little bit of drama or emotion in there can go a long way. So sometimes that can be, you know, not sensationalizing it beyond belief, but making it sound really exciting.
In my case, I'm doing a computer.
That's right. It's your computer.
I'll say that.
Sorry?
Say that.
Yeah, you can, yeah, that's right.
Australian such big countries, so
Yeah, you can, anything that you think will create that little bit of urgency or desire. So if someone's going, oh, I'm writing a blog post about this, and you know, maybe it's about travel, and it's like, well, I really want to travel. So if the promotional post about the article is enticing me to want to go somewhere, I'm more likely to click on it because I want that, you know, little buzz that you get from reading something or seeing something that you enjoy. So just think about that. And yours might be, you know, I want them to feel really happy, or I want them to feel maybe a bit guilty or something like that. So maybe it's, you know, coming up to Christmas, have you bought, you know, a really good gift for your child? Click here to read about, you know, gifts that help your children learn. You know, and then they're like, oh, shit, I just bought them up, whatever, you know, maybe I need to do that. So a little bit of guilt. A bit of a wow factor in there can be good as well in your promotion. So people go, wow, like I didn't know that, or that's really impressive, or that sounds really great. So that's there. And then the other thing is hashtags. And the reason I mention it here, and I'll mention it a few times today, that sometimes people have things set for hashtags that they want to know more about. So when we were learning how to eat a keto diet, you know, on my Instagram, I was following hashtag keto diet. So if someone posted anything about that, I'd get notified. And then if it was an article that I thought I'd want to read, I would then click on it. But you have to think about that, and does it align with your promotion and the key points? So think about your key points. I'm mentioning it here, but I'll mention it again later. Remember to put them in as hashtags. Okay, and particularly on Instagram and Twitter. So
is that actually in the title of the hashtag? Or
just in the promotion itself. So yeah, it can be in the body, it can be even in the comments. Yeah, but just don't forget about them because they're so important. But think about what they would be and start to make a list, and that can help you with creating what you're going to talk about as well. Because it's kind of like, oh, is this hashtagable? Okay, this could actually be the heading of my promotion as well.
Would you have it say it was, say the background also wasn't visible, but the information was still there for searchability? Would you use hashtags?
No,
because I've seen some.
hashtag. Yeah.
But some things are going to be hash, in my case, backup, hash, support, hash, maintenance, whatever it is. Just a whole long list of words.
At the end, yeah.
Well, that'll look pretty ugly. They're hidden, so it's been seen.
No, people are used to them.
Okay.
Yeah. Depending on your platform. But yeah, certainly
Well, and people use
Twitter,
it because
LinkedIn.
they know it's there. That's why it needs to be visible.
Yeah, because they're searching, and if you search for something and you can't see it, it's like, follow.
So that cheating your
But I understand those not on everything I post on this video. And I've had a lot of toy shops contact me because they see it on Johnson. And they obviously
They're following just.
Yeah,
following Johnson.
so that's evidence that that's working.
So they, yeah, they most of them just follow my blog, but then when I do post today, they come.
Yeah.
Exactly, I see that too, because they've started following the Instagram page. But it, yeah, like I just think, wow, but you realise that they are kids to a shop.
Yeah.
And they're just not hashtag and step towards someone.
Yeah.
That has a lot of influence and true we follow. Because they
Yeah.
don't build up.
And if you are on Instagram in particular, don't be surprised if people follow you. They like the post, they follow you, and then you look at it a few days later and they stop following you. They just do that because they're expecting that they follow you, you follow them, and then no one's subscribing you, and then their rate of followers, ratio of followers to follows is out. But anyway, it's a thing. Just don't get upset about it. So variety. So when you're doing promotion, if you do follow someone and you follow them on a few platforms, it's actually quite, I don't know, annoying to see the.
Must be bad.
So it's actually quite annoying to see exactly the same post on all different platforms. I know it's easy when you're creating content to go, oh, I've written this blurb, I'll use it on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn. But your audience, if they're following you in multiple places, don't really like it and don't get it value. So think about how you can mix it up. It might still be leading to exactly the same place, but can you use a different key point on your Facebook versus your Instagram versus your Twitter? Okay, and if you're planning ahead, then it's a good way to go. So yeah, just try and have that bit of variety in there. On the images you use, even if the text is the same, if it's a different image, people go, oh, different picture, you know, oh, same content. So with the text as well, think about the audience that's actually looking at you on that platform. So LinkedIn is your more professional audience, Facebook a little bit more casual, Instagram a lot more casual usually. So yeah, and different age demographics. So again, you wouldn't necessarily write the same text on LinkedIn as what you're going to put on Twitter, because it's a different audience. They're expecting a different amount of text, a different way that the message is communicated. But again, the general topic can be the same. If you're sending out an email, sometimes including the first paragraph in with a little read more can be helpful. So you'll see that sometimes you'll have a particularly magazine, digital magazines will send an email out saying what's coming up, like High Life magazine is a good example, and they give you a little snippet of the different articles that are in the magazine, and then it just says read more.
Just like the first paragraph, you click here, and then it takes you to the website.
Yeah, it takes you to the website. So it doesn't even have to be necessarily something that would be seen as a promotion. It's just, oh, here's an article you might like, start reading it, but we're not going to put it all in here. You have to click on it to go and find the rest. Little videos or audios can be good as well. So you might want to do like a little Facebook Live or something like that about it, where someone's seeing you and hearing you. Little infographics can be good as well, particularly if your article is, informative in some way. So you could create a little infographic to go out as your promotion for it.
It's not motion, it's a motion.
No, it's just like if you've got some stats, you might do it with like an icon or a picture and a number or a keyword or something like that. So yeah, just where it's you can see it and understand what it's telling you really quickly. Yeah. And then the other thing with your creating content here is is it anticipation or is it awareness? So is it this content is coming soon? Like subscribe to us or, you know, follow us or something because this is coming. So you're building some anticipation, or have you released it and you've published the content and now it's awareness? This has been released, like this, you know, blog is out, this, check out our latest newsletter, read it, listen to our latest podcast, check out our latest YouTube video, whatever your content is. It's out there now, where this is, you know, oh, it's coming soon, don't forget, launching on Monday, you know, the next installment of whatever. Okay, so you can go both ways there. So try and mix that up a bit. Visualization again, so sort of extending from the infographic is if you can have a picture, people really like pictures online. Even in in newsletters or something, they like pictures. They won't always load those, so just make sure that you've got particularly emails. Some people have the images turned off, so don't rely only on that. Have some text there as well, but if you can capture their imagination with that visual.
Is there a ratio between a number of pictures to text, or is it?
Not that I'm aware of, whatever looks right.
Industries are different.
Yeah. I mean, if you were a photographer, you'd probably go heavier on the imagery and less on the text. But conversely, you might have someone who takes a beautiful photograph that's really artistic and just shows the one photograph and has this long thing about how they prepared and styled it and what it's all about. So it depends on what the audience is looking for. But graphs and diagrams, so sort of going on that infographic style, sometimes graphs and diagrams can be helpful, again, in that quick visualization. A picture of you, so don't be afraid to show yourself in there as well. And can you, you know, build your profile along with, and you see that on YouTube in particular, you know, the thumbnails almost always now have a picture of the person and the title of the program or the channel or whatever it might be. And then consider the size of the graphics based on the platform. We're going to talk about platform next, but for example, Instagram is square. So if you're doing something visual for Instagram, don't make it this long, wide, like think about that. So again, relevant to the platform, relevant to your audience, have an image that suits.
Just a question on that.
Yep.
Not many people look at Instagram on computer.
Not really.
It's mainly
It's mainly phone. You can, but no, it's mainly phone. So then when it is platforms, obviously your basics like your social medias, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn are common, but you might also be on Pinterest, TikTok, you know, whatever you need to be on. So just make sure you're relevant. That's right. And the thing is, you don't need to be on everything. You need to be where your audience is. So if you don't believe that your Instagram audience is going to take the time to go to your bio and click on the link in your bio, to click on your link tree, to get to your blog, don't worry about it there. Do it on Facebook where you can have a direct link, or do it on LinkedIn where you can have a direct link. But if you think your Instagram audience will do that, then, you know, do that. But just think about it. Yeah, that's right, exactly. Email lists, you know, whilst we all probably hate getting emails all the time, they're still one of the best ways to communicate, because generally the person has opted in at some point to say that they want more information. So there's a higher chance that they'll actually be interested in it if they open it, as opposed to social media where people will scroll through and they'll see things that they've got no interest in whatsoever, even though Facebook's getting better and better all the time. But yeah, if someone subscribed to your email, they've taken a step, they're interested in some way, shape or form. So be sure to let them know through that channel. Forums as well is not to be discounted. A lot of people still go to forums. Okay, they'll be in groups that are about that topic. So be sure to share. Not quite the same thing for this context. Bit different, yeah. But then Slack groups or other groups like that. So you might be in a WhatsApp group or a Slack group or some other group. be sure to tell them and think about how can you communicate and what's appropriate for that platform. So if it's like you can have, you know, an image, you can have a link. If it's a WhatsApp group, it might just be a really short message and a link. You know, again, think about those people that want to hear from you and what's appropriate for that platform. Leverage. So we've talked about this a couple of times, particularly where you're engaging someone else in the creation or the promotion of this post. Don't forget to tell them and make it really easy for them to be able to share. So if you're doing something with, you know, a teacher, for example, who maybe works with kids and really believes in the value of play in this way, can you create some promotional material to give to them to make it easy for them to share it with their network? Because ultimately that's what we want them to do, is share it with their network that we don't have just yet. But can you make it easy? So can you put together a little kit, and it might be just 2 or 3 like sample Twitter posts or a sample Twitter, a sample Instagram. You've written a bit of text for them, you've given them some images, maybe they're co-branded images that they can use. So it looks for their audience more like something they're collaborating on as opposed to just promoting. You know, but writing the text from their perspective, because everyone's busy, and if you want them promoting you, you've got to give them the tools and the resources. Otherwise, they're less likely to actually stop, make the time to think about it, read what you've written if you've sent them a draft, or, you know, pre-access to what you're posting about, so that they can write something meaningful and then share it with their audience. So the more you can give them, the better. Remember to include your hashtags in there as a list that they can just copy and paste. Also include like tags, so at name, so like at, for us, at Canvas Co-work Inc. But if there's someone else included in it, you might have some other ats for them to tag in what they're sharing. And also confirm the date for them to start sharing. So if it's, you know, you're saying, oh, you know, the podcast comes out next Monday, please don't share it before then. So start sharing from, you know, Monday at 6 a.m. If you give it to them now, they can schedule that and it'll go out then, or they can diarise to send it out then. Where if you just send it to them today and they post it today and it's kind of ahead of time and the article's not out yet, and the way it's written suggests that it is out, it just causes confusion. So just be really clear if you do want them to hold before they start sharing. If you think they don't have the ability to do that, schedule your email to them to wait to go to them when it's time to actually share. So are we good on that? Yep. Okay. Okay. All right. Call to action. So we talked about call to action in creating our content. However, this is not the same call to action. In this case, the call to action from the promotion is to go read the content or go listen to the content or go watch the content. It's not the call to action that's in the content that might be telling them to buy your product or come in for a tour or whatever. So the purpose of the promotion is to get them to the content. So just try and remember that when you're creating it as a promotional piece. Is it actually directing them? And again, maybe you're doing it as a direct, you know, read this particular article, or it might be subscribe to our channel, okay, or subscribe to our blog or something like that. Sign up to our newsletter to find out when our next blog article, when this one and future ones come out, that sort of thing. So just think about what's the purpose of this promotion for you. And you might also choose to add in a little added benefit in there, like reminding someone that if they subscribe, they'll get early access. Or if they, you know, read it now, maybe it's only gone out to a select group of people, you know, click on this now for early access to this thing, or pre-orders or whatever it might be. So let them know if there's some urgency there that might encourage them to actually do it now rather than think, oh, I'll do that later. So in that call to action, you really want to, be telling them what to do. But remember, it's not the same call to action as what's in your content. Yeah. It's different. It's got to get them to the content. Okay, so we're okay with that? Cool. And then the next part is creation, and I just say batch. So if you're doing images and you've got to do images for Facebook and images for Instagram and images for this and this, like just make a list of what platforms you want to be on, research the size of the image for that platform, think about what you want to create, and then just go into Canva or Adobe or whatever you're using to create images in, and just go in and create all your images. And then write your blurb and then edit the blurb for Facebook, for Twitter, for, tweak it. Okay, sit down and batch that. Think about your hashtags. They're probably going to be the same across most, but you might have some slight variation. If you're maybe one platform, you might be promoting one particular key point, but on another platform, you might be focused on another key point. So you might add a few extra hashtags relevant to the key point or slight tangents of that on those ones. So again, just sitting down and going, okay, these are all the hashtags I want to use on everything. And then these ones might be specific for different platforms. Getting your links. So again, if you're linking just to the content directly, it'll probably be just the one link. But if you're going, okay, this call to action is to the content, but this call to action is to subscribe to the newsletter, or this call to action is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you've got your links ready to go so you can grab the one you want.
This is all specifically to the promotion.
To the promotion, yeah. And then writing emails. So you might choose, if you're doing promotion, you might be having an anticipation email. So don't forget, next week we're launching our blog. Watch out for it, subscribe here. I'm sending you this, newsletter to maybe all of your people, but you're wanting them to subscribe to get this particular thing, to put them into a list or a segment within your overall email list. So you might have this anticipation email, and then you might have, it's out today, launch email, and then you might have another email that goes out 3 or 4 days later to say, hey, did you see this thing, in case they missed it? So you might sit down and just write those 3 emails all at once, okay? And then again, think about what your links and everything is relevant to that. But batching them as opposed to going, okay, I'm going to do the Facebook one and I'm going to do the image and write the text, and then I'm going to do the Instagram and I've got to go back and do that. So just make a list of what you want for each.
So that you do all your different things at once.
Yeah, make a plan. Yeah, make a plan first. These are the ones I'm going to do. So what platforms am I going to share this on? What's the topic for each? And then go and do your images and do your image for each thing. And then write your blurb for each thing. And you might want to do it the other way. You might want to write the blurb first, or write your hashtags first, or whatever. Doesn't matter. But I just encourage you to try not to do everything for Facebook and then everything for Instagram and then everything for LinkedIn. It's just really time consuming to do it that way. So try and batch up those things. In all this together, all that together, all that. And this might take you 4 or 5 days to do, because you might only have an hour in the day to do it.
So I'm just thinking from my perspective, if I on what I'm working on, I would get all the images and make sure that are fits Instagram. But if it's going on one platform, just cuts off half the so different sure that for the same skill. Yeah, and then when I look at the blurb, I might have a similar setup subscribers, but I'm only going to mention those 2 topics in the email, and I'll just take the paragraph up to there, and then I'll put the link to the blog for each of those 2 things. So it's kind of you get all the work, but then it's much.
Yeah, snipping. I want this bit of this, and this bit of this.
I don't know, just put it like a spreadsheet or draw it to remind me as a little chart. So we've got images, you've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you're going to do now.
Yeah,
you just decide which ones you're going to use, and then make sure you've got all your images for the ones you're going to use, and then all your blurb, what part of the blurb are you going to use in there. You don't use hashtags, only on Instagram. Yeah. And then so on. And then you're sending content on 5 platforms.
And repurposing.
But instead of when you run the email and you go back to source, where's the picture? Is it the right shape? Is it the right size? Yeah. you edit it all once, I will put it there on Instagram.
And I'll show you a little spreadsheet that I use that helps you in thinking about that ahead of time. And it's got like the sizes of all the different platforms. So when you're doing them, you can just go there and go, oh yeah, I need this one, this one, this one, and you can go from there. So I'll show you that in a moment as well. So then scheduling. So I really encourage you to try and do this ahead of time, particularly if your article isn't necessarily time sensitive. Like if it's not like, oh, I'm writing this article, it's got to go out this afternoon. Okay, so if it does, it's like, all right, try and plan better next time. But if you can be ahead and you can prepare these things and have them scheduled to just go out, you know, on the day that the article's being published or the day before or week after or whatever, you know, what it is. Canva now has a scheduling tool built in. So if you're using Canva, it's
not using Instagram because I did have a look at that.
Yeah.
90 to 1.
Yeah.
Predict that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that doesn't do Instagram, and that's one of my key demographics really great.
Yeah. So we use Planoly for Instagram because you can see the grid and you can go, oh, if I've got a layout like a checkerboard or columns or strings or something, is that working? Plan is also Instagram. Buffer does a few different ones, but we use Buffer for Twitter mainly, but it does do other things as well. Publer is quite good. It covers a few. It will do Instagram as well, but it doesn't give you a grid. We don't have it hooked up to our Instagram because I prefer Planoly because you can see the grid, but Publer will do Google My Business, which is good. If you need to be sharing there, and obviously Facebook has its own built-in scheduling, and through Creative Studio you can do a few things.
Can I just ask you, because I did do try that for this organic, as they call it, and I mean, yes, but it's not like it's not very nice stuff. And then I sort of started looking at other people and whatever, and I coming to the conclusion that I don't work on something that in my situation, I'm far better off rather than trying to post daily or 3-4 times a week or whatever, to have really good content and just post when I promote it.
So I can only share my thoughts rather than, like, I don't have actual stats, but if you post and people like it or, you know, interact with it, the algorithms will say, oh, you shared something, they liked it, we're going to show them more from you. If you rarely post, they can only show that person. So if someone's looked at it and they liked your post, they can only show that person so many things. And someone else that they follow, or, you know, they look at lots of different things, if they're liking lots of other people's things more often, the algorithm's going to put them into their feed more often. And it's possible that even though they like every post that you've done in the past, if you don't post often enough, you won't make it to the top of the algorithm for that person's feed, and they may not get it. And it's not to say they don't like it, they just never get it in their feed. So unless you've got them through an email or something like that, that's different because you're controlling that. But if you're relying on an algorithm that's based on interaction, it's harder.
And I'm trying to like go a little bit behind the scenes of some of the things that are happening. And there's 2 different workshops, both follow me. So that's part of my pipeline operation.
All right, thanks, Tony. Good to see you.
Second times, and they're obviously issues, but I mean, they've got really good content because they've got whereas I've got one half. And they obviously this one they've got a good follow and what have you, and I think most of it will be. Then another one followed me quite recently, and they've got 7,000 followers, I'm not and I thought, you know,
so there's such different reasons for that. They could have bought those followers. They could have had posts that they deleted. They could have changed the name of that page in the past, and maybe it was something else. There's so many things that you just can't know, and that's
my biggest problem is highly fresh.
Yeah.
Where, you know, people are following it because they want to see pictures of but they get
Yeah.
Whereas with a promotion, I'm reaching thousands of people, and that's when I get likes. I get like 59, 59 going through the website.
Yeah.
And because they're liking the promotion, it's getting promoted more, and I can see over a 5-year period.
Yeah, it goes up.
Up.
Yeah.
So
and that's
my product is so
Yeah.
much,
I think the thing is not only posting pictures of your product. That's what my feedback would be, is what does your audience care about, and are you showing them things that they're interested in, and occasionally showing them your product as well. Maybe your product is written into the blurb, but the picture is something else. So let's say the picture is just little hands holding something. And your post might be something around fine motor skills. And then you can talk, about fine motor skills, but then how the furniture in Ether House is designed to help children. But you're not even showing a picture of maybe it's a piece of the furniture or something.
I can see that, but then I just think when I'm time, I've got to do
yes, that's right. Exactly.
I just think I don't want to build up the following of just people who think like me and act like me and like the things I like. Like, do I need 10,000 people who like me or like my thoughts or like my? Do you know what I mean? And I can see how
Do
into your product.
Because ultimately we could have, if you want 100 people to buy from you, you need 10,000 people on your list. Like that's generally considered the ratio. That about 1% of people, maybe 2% of people will be in a position of buying what you're selling at a point in time. And that's a good number. Like that's still high. So if you have 10,000 people following you, and then you put out something to say, hey, Ether House is available now, you can buy it, you might get 200 people go, I'm ready to buy it right now. And that, if it's been anticipation building, might even be a little bit higher right off the bat, because people have been going, I'm waiting, and I'm willing to wait for you, as opposed to a general thing.
See, I'm down, and this is not and I think so. That is a huge amount of input on which I like doing, and I'm happy to do my job.
Yeah.
But would my time be better off spent for shops and say,
One-to-many, absolutely.
Huge. Like, I get a lot of business that way, and what I haven't seen.
So the thing with that is, it's credibility and connection. So I need to know you, like you, and trust you. If you cold call me, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to jump online and see. I'm going to jump online and see, are you legitimate? Who are you? What are you doing? And then if you say, I want you to stock my product, they're going to be, are you going to bring people into my store? And are you promoting your product, and do people like it? So they're going to see it and go, where can I buy it? Oh, I can buy it at my local toy store. I'm going to go into my local toy store and buy it. Or are you just saying, hey, you've got a great toy store and I've got a great product. Nobody knows about my product, but you've got traffic. I want to put my toy in your toy store so that it will sell because you've done all the hard work. So it's got to be a bit of both. And I think you've got the luxury at the moment, I say that loosely, but luxury at the moment of having time to promote and build some awareness and some traffic and some engagement, that if you go to a store and you say, hey, look, I've got 7,000 followers, I'm getting this percentage interactions, they can. That's it, yes. That's it.
So, but it's so hard to justify all that time. I can do a little bit.
That's right. And
I can see the value of having the website that can look out and having done a couple of blogs and having, so I look up, I have there.
Yes.
So
And yes, do you need 7 posts a day? No. Do you need 2 posts a week? You know, I'd be thinking 2 posts a week minimum would be required. 3. Yeah, 3 is good, I think. Yeah, but 7 a day.
And sometimes I do one on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But yeah, I think you definitely need something because they'll.
I look at a lot of people who follow me have followings of people who like really talk this or like this or like that, but they're not shopping, they're just famous.
Yeah.
And I just think, I don't want to be an influencer.
No, but you do want influencers to talk about your product.
Yeah.
If they have an audience that are engaged. Yes, that's it. Yeah,
There you go. Yeah.
that's right. But that's because you've done this work.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Had you been going, I'm not doing anything until I'm ready to launch, and then you go, hey, I've launched and there's crickets because you haven't done this work, then that's when, and we see that every day, but you are doing the work.
And that sounds counterintuitive, but the thing that terrifies me more is
When, yeah,
especially this is our worst 2 months, and I'm struggling to get through the days.
Yeah, I mean, if you want support, let's say for social media, I really encourage just outsourcing to a cheaper option. One person that you have a relationship with, that you give them the content, you set the boundaries, you give them the structure, and they will execute on it. Like employ someone to do that. Yeah.
I think that's where I need to. I kind of don't want to do too much actually.
Keep in mind, that's right, you have to train them, and how long will that take? And if you want them ready, like able to do that stuff when you're processing orders, you don't want to be trying to train someone while you're processing orders. So, for $1,000 or something like that, maybe to have them for 6 weeks or whatever beforehand and be trained and have a system and know what they're doing, and you be confident in them and they be comfortable and capable, it's probably worth the investment. So, and maybe you could do it for $500 or something like that. Someone, 10 hours a week. Sorry?
You said $5 a week. You said you could get someone to do it
for you. Yeah, outsource it.
Oh, outsource.
Yeah, outsource it. So scheduling, some of them are free and some do single multi-platforms. And that's really all we had in there today. So so I think it requires this attention, whatever you're creating, so that you don't create it and have no interaction with it and you wasted your time. Because unfortunately, a lot of content gets created that nobody ever reads because nobody knows it's there. Good SEO is great later, but you've got to get it out there soon.